Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine and I'm joined in the engine room, not up front because I got told off for that last week, by Mr. Paul Cropper. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah. First things first, I need to apologise for the sound of me last week because I sounded like Chris Eubank Senior, on them headphones, like with a lift. So I listened to 20 minutes and I was like, "How are people listening to this? I don't know." So my apologies. I used my wife's headphones, so she made me buy some more, and they were awful. So I make these back.
Don't use your wife as the excuse for this. Come on.
Well,
Come
I always blame the wife, especially when she doesn't listen to this, so she can't stick up for herself. So
on.
she'll be
Well,
fuming that I've got them hanging off the pictures as well in background. So
I was just about to say, I'm going to clip this bit up. I'm going to send it to her on Instagram. Here we coming
don't. I
on with
get bullied
a
enough,
next.
me, mate. Don't. Yeah. I'm a
But
man in a
yeah,
house with women. Get bullied.
yeah. Oh, it's the opposite for Ellie here. It's all boys, all
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
Even the cat. I told you we got a cat called Zlatan, dog called
You
Elliot,
did. Yeah.
Cantona. But yeah, total opposite. 3 boys or 5 boys if you include the animals, and then Ellie. It's all right. She's fine with it, I think. Obviously, we're not here to talk about home life. We're here to talk about Manchester United. Um, that defeat, as you mentioned before, to Newcastle United seems like a million years ago now. Some of the headlines that was coming out after that, though, and I did talk about this in the newsletter, which you can get from fergiesgumpodcast.com. Some of the headlines coming out of that, doom and gloom. After one defeat, Michael Carrick's first defeat as Manchester United manager, and everyone's saying that the honeymoon period was over. So, I mean, I've put my thoughts down. You may or may not have read them, but what do you think about stuff like this? Like, is it a cause for concern that Michael Carrick got beaten in a game?
No, it's a cause for concern. Can't even say it. The manner of the performance, I think, more than the result, in my opinion, because I don't think even the first half against Crystal Palace, I thought we was poor and slow again. But yeah, it's been coming. That I wasn't. A few people were telling me they were confident of going to Newcastle. I think I said 1-1, something like that. I'd be happy to take a point.
I
I
said
wasn't.
Desmond, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I wasn't confident going up there, just particularly because of the way that we've been playing. I think was it Paul Scholes said he's got away with it. Somebody said he's been getting away with it, but I think it just showed the squad weaknesses again, didn't it, Nathan? When Mbeumo and Cunha, who have had a dip in form, to be fair, I know they've been pulling out worldies here and there, but Mbeumo since he's come back from the African nations, I think has been poor. He's been pushed out onto the right, and I don't think he's been as good as he was before he went. And if him and Cunha don't seem to do anything with Ahmad being dropped, there's nothing else. Sesko's picking up scraps, scoring goals, to be fair to him, but he's out of the game for most of the thing. And unless Bruno does something otherworldly, or I think we struggle. There's no pattern to it, and we're starting too slow, too lethargic. And against 10 men, the ball needs to be moved quicker. Michael Carrick was on the side going mad when it moved the ball quicker, 1 and 2 touches. And I just don't think the ability is there in some of the players to do it. Casemiro just showed that he can't even do a game a week at that level, at that tempo. That pace was just too quick for him. Yeah,
Mm.
poor performance.
Yeah, it was definitely a poor performance. I'm not entirely sure what Michael Carrick could have done about that. Obviously, he can give them their
Put his
instructions.
boots on.
Well, yeah, go and step in. I guess he could have just stepped in and gone and played in central midfield. I think what you're saying about Mbeumo and Cunha, again, another player that I don't think has a real natural position at Manchester United right now. I think he's the type of player, Matthias Cunha I'm talking about, that needs a team built around him to really get the best out of him. So, and I'm yet to see that at Manchester United. But I think when you talk about like the great teams or teams that are in good form, they all have to work together. It can't just be we've relied so long on Bruno Fernandes to pull something out of the hat. And even when we had like Pogba, and then looking to they pass the ball to Pogba and then they just all stand still. That's what that Newcastle result felt like. It felt like they were all just individuals again. It felt like they was waiting for a moment of magic, and they weren't really pressing as they could do. They weren't really getting up the pitch. They were trying to play World Cup winning passes when it would have been easier to just stick it on the floor. And the worrying thing again is it shows the mental fragility because obviously it was against 10 men again. So, against Everton at home, lost 1-0 to them. I know it was under Ruben Amorim, but again, it's the same group of players that played in that game that just couldn't muster anything. And it must be a psychological thing that they just can't produce. So that's the big worry for me. And if nothing else, I don't think it says Michael Carrick, the honeymoon period is over. What you said right at the beginning is the squad just isn't good enough. The depth of it, once you go past that first 11, it's over. Like, forget it. Ugarte's coming on. He's not going to be there next season. He's awful. He's really bad. Joshua Zirkzee, nice little touches, but he's not going to change a game for you. He just doesn't have that in him. And Malacia, mate, I've never seen someone get turned so badly as Malacia did. That was as if I was playing on the pitch against professional footballers. Like, that step over that Osili did, it wasn't even fast. It was Phil Neville levels of speed, and he got sent for a hot dog. And I don't
He's
understand
done on it.
how a professional footballer can do that. So that, for me, that was the one thing that I thought that Carrick got wrong, bringing Malacia on in that position, because he's barely played any football. And I don't think he adds an attacking threat. He never has really added an attacking threat. And I don't know, it just stank of desperation.
There's no other option there, is there? Dalot came on. Mazraoui went to left back, didn't he? Because Luke Shaw took him out. So it just showed Dalot, Ugarte, Malacia, and Zirkzee are your substitutes. That's not good enough for Europe, that is it? It's not going to get you in the top 8. But if they started in your 11, you're not getting the top 10, are you? So shows where the improvement needs to be made again.
I think you're right. I think you're right as well about the Mbumo out on the right. He plays better down the middle. And I think
Yes,
he's
he does.
finding it hard to adjust. And I think he's missing Ahmad, because they were linking up really well. And that right-hand side was our strongest point for most of the season. So when you move Ahmad out of that position, who helps with the defensive parts of the game as well, like, he's really put that in. Mbumo has to now do that job, and he's not comfortable doing it. The ball's over the top. I always fancy him to win the foot race, but against Newcastle, I thought it was bad. And maybe again, if you're looking at issues that Michael Carrick's had, he's managed the Benjamin Sesko thing well, but maybe it was a bit. You narrow in the pitch when you take Ahmad off. That's what I think. And there's no way to get at them, especially when they gone to 10 men. I know it would have been harsh to take Sesko off at that point, but if you want to stretch the game, you bring Ahmad on and you run them ragged, and then you see what happens. But I'm not one to be saying that Carrick still isn't the man for this job. I still think he's got until the end of the season to prove himself, and there's no natural candidates for it. So I think that probably helps. The Paul Scholes thing that you touched on right at the beginning about him saying Michael Carrick must have had something about him because they've been crap for the last few games. And then Tenali, Hart, he loves him type of thing. I'm starting to wonder now if they're just baiting these things, Scholes and Nicky Butt, just baiting them now, just so that they get more people going back to the podcast for an apology. Because he did come out on the Good, the Bad and the Football and say, I spoke to Michael, I didn't mean it like that. And he deleted the post as well, didn't he? After he got
Did
the
he?
backlash.
Right. Okay. Right.
It just seemed unnecessary. And whatever he says, it wasn't a dig at Michael Carrick. It was a dig at Michael Carrick, and it was a dig at the squad again. Because you couldn't wait. As soon as they lost, you got online and that's what you posted. And it's still embarrassing from Scholesy. I think he needs to knock it on the head. But again, the fading fame for him and Nicky Butt, it's how did they cling on to it? How did they stay relevant? I know that sounds awful, but how do you stay relevant in this day and age? By being controversial. So I don't know what your thoughts were on it, but left a bad taste in my mouth. That
Paul Scholes will do what Paul Scholes wants. When I don't think he cares what anybody thinks, he'll just crack on. Then again, deleting it sure means maybe somebody's had a word with him and said, "Don't be doing that." He won't care. He's a lad that's been brought up in snooker clubs and con clubs in the north, and he won't give back 2 eyes for what anybody else thinks.
From the bad to the good, or to the actual generational talent, if you believe some of the headlines that are out there. JJ Gabriel has scored another couple of stunners against Nottingham Forest under-18s. I don't know if you saw them. You must have seen them.
Did.
You must have seen
Yep,
them, Paul.
definitely did.
The
Yeah,
like, one, I think maybe took a bit of a deflection, but it was an absolute rocket from outside the 18-yard box, and the second one, if you thought the first one was fluky, the second one definitely proved that he can shoot from range, and he absolutely buried it from outside the box. You watch these goals, and he's now got, I think it's 22 games, 20 goals, and 3 assists. I don't think, I know because I wrote it down earlier, in all competitions. So it's like, so he's basically, he's doing fantastic things for the under 18s at 15 years old right now. Um, he's a big part of why they're going to the, is it the Premier League Cup? Is that the one
cup
that the
final, yeah. Yep. I think it's at West
Sellers
Ham's
Park?
ground. Oh,
Sellers
Salah's
Park
back, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
against Crystal Palace. Um, and every time I watch like highlights reels of JJ Gabriel, I'm always surprised by how he's a ball like press resistant, how he just never loses the ball, despite him being like stick thin, and the power that he can generate on his shots. Like it's just, it's a weird thing about him. So it got me thinking, and we're not going to be writing him off or anything like that right now, or piling more pressure on him. But just in terms of the players that you've seen come through over time, is JJ Gabriel, as I said at the top of at the top of this segment, generational talent, or is he just another really good kid within that 18s group?
No, he's better than that. He is generational talent's massive to say in it, but he is our Yamal. I mean Yamal. That is what he is. That
I mean, that's
he's
massive
that.
to say as well.
Yeah. He's not got the physical attributes of Yamal, but the confidence, his ability on the ball, like you say, press resist. He does lose the ball. He does give the ball away, but he's a kid. Um, he's playing in a very good United team, but everything comes through him. Whether he plays out on the left or he plays as the 10, or he's even played as the number 9. I mean, I think he hit the post twice at the weekend. He
Mm.
creates every time he gets the ball. You think, oof, his turn off on the ball is unbelievable. The kids playing against him, they look like they're chasing shadows when he's there.
Yeah.
But the ball's going under a mile an hour, and then when he gets it, he turns to face goal. He runs at you straight away. He's direct with everything, similar to Yamal, similar to Neymar, similar to them type. All these kids now coming through are very, very silky on the ball, and they're all practicing the skills and the step overs and stuff like that. And he is, I think it was 9 when he was first, when they called him Kid Messi. That was when he was
Yeah.
9, and you could see his touch then at 9 year old. So then for him to have another 6 years on top of that, and you can see what he's. It's his confidence that strikes me as his major attribute, isn't it? His mentality. And then when you listen to, I've just been watching a Fletcher interview, and he says that the kid loves football, just loves
Mm.
playing football. And when you hear that and you think, yeah, that's all. I just want a kid to enjoy football. And he plays football like the kids that on a park. If you're playing with your mates on a park, I'm going to try this step over. And that bravery to try that kind of thing on the ball in a game at that age, that's brilliant. And that'll take him to be where he wants to be.
I think the goals that he scored against Nottingham Forest were obviously fantastic, but the best one for me was, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who they were playing against. He got the ball from Amma, who's the Harry Maguire regen football
Regen.
manager.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he plays exactly like him, looks like him in everything that he does. He played the ball through to him. He got it out wide. He was in the 18-yard box, and he just went past the defender. I don't know how he found the space and then just rattled it in off the underside of the bar from like inside the 18-yard box. I thought that was even more impressive than the 2 long range strikes that he had the other day, because any kid can whack it from distance. Do you know what I mean? Like if they get a bit of space. But he's just got this, he's got something about him. And again, we don't want to rush this. But he's got something about him that you just want to see him play now for Manchester United. You want to see him in there with so much misery around the club over these last few years. You want to see this new talent coming through, whether he's generational or not. Time will tell. But right now, he's shaping up to be. And as you say, he loves playing football. You can tell that he posts on Instagram quite a lot as well, of him just like practicing, like kicking the tennis ball against the wall. Um, and clearly, Manchester United feel like they've got something special there. Like you say, he is their Lamine Yamal. When Barca came hawking around, when there was the rumours that, oh, maybe maybe he'll leave, and they were trying to pick him up. He had a meeting with Ferguson. I think Jason Wilcox and Ruben Amorim had an emergency meeting with him and his dad, talking about the pathway to the first team. I think there were some expectations that if we'd have gone on a bit further in the FA Cup, or had
Yes.
an easy tie in the FA Cup, then he might have got a few minutes then. Because they're obviously looking at Max Dowman at Arsenal, who's, he's playing games in the FA Cup.
Mhm.
And they're thinking, yeah, could have done the same thing here as well. Unfortunately, we barely played any games because we've been knocked out of all of these competitions. But it's, again, you don't want to pile too much pressure on him, but at the same time, you just want to see him play. You want to see him play at Old Trafford in front of a full crowd, and you want to hear that sound of the seats all clacking when people stand up when he gets on the ball. What's he going to do? Is he going to score? Is he
Mm.
going to have the same sort of impact as Wayne Rooney? But I
Well,
don't know. I don't know. Is
yeah,
he better than every other player that's in that under 18s? You've seen them quite a lot.
they got to come as Mailbag about that, so we'll wait. But he was born 6th of October 2010. That makes you feel old, doesn't it? But his dad, I don't know if you know, his dad was an Ireland international, played at lower leagues. His dad was a professional footballer as well. So he's actually called Joseph Junior. That's where the JJ comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Bring
for
it in
me.
now.
He's not.
Bring the Gunners
Oh,
mailbag question
okay,
in now.
okay,
Bring it
okay,
bring it
okay.
in now. We've got the
When
perfect time to
when
talk
I
about it.
when I said he's playing in a very good team, I've said it most times. There's 6 or 7 of them that could probably make the step up, and it's probably somewhere that they're looking at now, especially with the transfers they're looking at. They're looking at left wingers. We've got 3 or 4 left wingers there now that are playing and are absolutely flying in the youth team. So Noah Ajayi, for me, he's the
Mm.
best of the group. He's
Right.
unbelievable, Nathan. Yeah, he's not just because of on the ball, JJ Gabriel, brilliant. Jim Thwaites passing, brilliant set pieces, etc. Other people you could mention as well, but Ajayi, he's 6'2". He's an animal. He's just
Mm.
built for it, ready. This is the thing about JJ Gabriel, where you're going to have to take your time with him because he could just get lumped to bits. Not that I think it will slow him down. I think it will just maybe he won't go on and score 10 goals a season straight away. You know, it's going to take him time to. Ajayi could probably come in and do a job now, in my opinion. He's that good. 6'2", dribbles, can go either way, direct, can shoot, can finish. He's the best of that group for me. But he doesn't seem to. They bring him on and then they'll take him off and then they'll start him next game and then he'll be on the bench again next game. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why they do that. But he's so direct. And when I saw it, the first time I thought, is that he runs like Cristiano, and he does run like Cristiano Ronaldo. The way he gets the ball, you know, the little stutter steps that he does, the way he
Yeah.
dribbles, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant to watch. So when the highlights come on for the kids, you're watching JJ Gabriel, you're watching Chido Obi when he's not in the under 21s, and then you're watching Ajayi come on, and then you've got Jim Thwaites pinging the ball around. You've got, like you say, the centre half with Maguire EJ. It's brilliant to watch. I love watching it, and to be honest with you, I'm enjoying that more than watching that rubbish we saw at St James's Park. Um, but just because it's good football, it's attacking football with flair, and they're getting the wingers out wide, and the wingers are doing what we love as United fans, getting at the fullback, beating the fullback, scoring goals. It's brilliant to watch. Yeah, one for me. I know JJ Gabriel is going to be a superstar. I think we've got another one in Noah Ajayi.
Bit of a weird one, this, mate, but I thought I'd put it on the podcast anyway. The reason why I'm actually going to be talking about this, and I'll get to the point in a second, is because I was interviewed by a lad called Richard Chamberlain recently because he's writing a book about retro football games, video games.
Okay.
And he's doing like not an anthology, but he's doing like a look back at like the big changes that happened from like kickoff on the Spectrum to EAFC now. It's mad that there's only like 1 or 2 actual football games now. When you think back then in the 80s and early 90s, there were probably hundreds coming out every week. But with that in mind, it got me thinking like, what was my favorite football video game? And as I've been a video games journalist on and off for the last 22 years, I've played a few, but I do have one in mind that I'm going to pick as my favorite. But I thought I'd go with you first, mate. What is your
All right.
favorite football video
Well,
game of all time?
as always, Nathan, when you message me and ask me my opinion, I make a list. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's on a list.
All right. Well, we can do a
Yep.
countdown to it
It's,
if you want, from
we'll
worst
do
to
a we'll do
best.
a this is going to show how old I am, how old we are. So I went with my first one, which was it number five? I think it's number five. In it was World Cup Italia '90 on the
Oh,
Mega Drive.
Mega Drive, yeah. That was one that I
Yes.
talked about as well. And every so often, I still get the theme tune from the games in my head, because it was like it was played from that top down perspective and the overhead kicks and stuff like that. But it would always play like samba style music as you was playing.
Yes. Yes, it would.
And
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
yeah, I mean, it's just popped into my head now. I'm not gonna do it on air, but it's
Do it.
that
Do
the
it.
some of the tunes like they, yeah, proper earworms, and they're stuck in
Yeah.
there. But that, yep, good choice. Is that number three?
Yeah.
Is that number three of your
I
football
think
game?
I've got it at number five. That one. Number five. I think I've
Okay.
got top
Oh, we've got
four, so we'll
five.
go with that.
Bloody hell. All
Yeah.
right, go on then.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one, Sensible Soccer. On the was it
Now,
on the Amstrad or was it Amiga? Amiga, on it.
Amiga, and the
Yes,
Commodore 64 it was on, I
that's
think.
why Commodore 64. Yep.
But are we talking original Sensible Soccer, or Sensible World of Soccer?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Right, okay. Well,
Whichever one we
the
might had,
way
because I never had a computer till I was. So my dad bought me a Mega Drive actually. But I used to go to my
okay,
mates. So just remember, you'd hit it and you could bend it, couldn't you?
from the
You
halfway
put a
line,
bend on it.
yeah,
Yeah,
with a
brilliant
joystick,
stuff.
yeah.
Little mini men just running around. Brilliant game.
So the
Yeah.
way to differentiate between the two of them, if it was the original Sensible Soccer or it was Sensible World of Soccer, is did it have a management element to it at all?
No, no, it didn't.
Right. Okay, so it was the original Sensible Soccer then. Sensible World of
Yeah.
Soccer was the one that had the crazy intro music called Goal Scoring Superstar Hero, which was literally a song with a lady singing it, and a mad video. If you want to go and check that out, go and type it in: "Sensible World of Soccer, Goal Scoring Superstar Hero." One of the oddest videos I've ever seen for a football game. Um, but yeah, good shout, good shout. Yep, I'm
Yep.
happy with that one.
Right. Yep. Okay. Third, I've gone. It's the obvious one. It's a bit of FIFA. Bit of FIFA in there. We used to play
Which
together,
one?
didn't we, on co-op? Any of them.
Which one?
I'm just throwing FIFA in whole because they've just gone downhill since it's EA, whatever it is now, and it. So, what
Yeah.
was the one we played together a lot? Can't remember what that
Um,
was.
it would have
It was when
been
what was he
Zlatan
called?
was there, right? Was
Zlatan. It
Zlatan?
was when Zlatan and Cavani were at PSG, wasn't it? And
Yes,
Aubameyang was at
yes,
Aubameyang was at Dortmund. I don't know what year it was, but Wayne Rooney was
yeah,
probably on cover. But just
yeah.
talking about FIFA, JJ Gabriel will be a FIFA cover star. Mark that down.
Oh, oh,
What you saying? Oh,
get
EA
that clicked.
football, whatever it is. Clip it. Give me
All right,
2%. Yeah, there we
all
go.
right.
So I'm putting FIFA in a box. There we go, FIFA.
Okay.
Now, this is down to personal choices now because I've got a feeling I know which most people will go when they say, "What's your favorite football game?" I'm going to go different, but I'm going to put it second. Brilliant game, Pro Evolution Soccer, probably the best.
Hmm.
Yeah, for most people, especially of our age, it was brilliant when it. Adriano,
Yeah.
left foot, wallop. Roberto Carlos, halfway line. We used to have tournaments together. It was
Mm.
before all your online stuff, really, wasn't it? Because when it came online, it was
Yeah.
no good. But Pro Evolution Soccer, Master League, where you'd have a what would they call it? What would it? Oh, I can't remember the names of the lads. But when you start a
Castolo,
Castolo,
Irano,
yeah.
yeah,
They were legends, weren't they,
Neugans.
for us?
Yeah, yeah,
Neugans, yeah. They were all legends for us as kids because we'd all had a
yeah.
Master League. You carry it around on your little memory card, wouldn't you? Take it to your mates, load up your team and stuff like that. Yeah, but I've put that second just
Do you
because
know?
of the amount of hours that I've put in one that's first.
Do you know what the interesting thing is though? But back when those players that you just mentioned from the Master League, back in the
Yeah.
day in Japan, they actually released a magazine that must have been about 120 pages thick of like just Pro Evolution Soccer, or Winning 11 as it was called over there. But there used to be like a segment of it, about 20 odd pages, where they'd made up like stories about these players. It's a
Backstories.
little, yeah, a little
Brilliant.
bit like A little bit like a striker, in the Sun newspaper,
Yeah, yeah.
and Roy the Rovers. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. I think I've got one somewhere. It
Brilliant.
must be in a loft somewhere. I need to dig it out. But yeah, they used to create little magazines about them. Classic players.
Fantastic, yeah.
Classic.
I loved that game.
I
Absolutely
I
loved
already
it, yeah.
I'm gonna guess. Well, I won't guess, but I already know what your number one is.
Do you
I know it.
really? It's
I do know
Champ
what it
Manager
is.
2001. Yeah.
I
There's
knew it
no
would be
better
Champ
football
Manager.
game than that.
I
Yeah.
knew it wasn't going to be Football Manager. And I just
Yep.
had this feeling that it was going to be Champ Manager because that era of football games, the management ones, was just untouchable because it was simple as well. It was simple to play, but you got the maximum benefit out of it. And that was before it was before Sports Interactive left IDOS, right? So Sports
Yes.
Interactive was still making the game, so they still had the name, and then they left, and then someone else tried to make Championship Manager, and it was crap. Um, and now Sports Interactive obviously make Football Manager. Championship Manager. Tell us a little bit about it then. Why the 2001 version?
Oh, that's when football was at its peak. I've said it loads of times. That's peak football. It was brilliant. You could build your own squad. It had legends all over the game,
Mm,
just throughout the game, everywhere. So a lot of us used to get together with mates. And we want to be Real Madrid, want to be Barcelona, and then and you play a whole league together, and you do all your transfers between each other. But I spent hours on it, just
mm,
building a squad. And I remember my mum. I don't know if a lot of people won't know this because I'm a council estate, but my mum used to have a electric card. So you'd be throughout a save. You do like 4 or 5 hours on a save. Forget to save it. Not have, and then all of a sudden the electric would go off. And it'd be end at world. You're like, no, I've lost everything. No, mum, get to the shop. We need some Alecki. Get some Alecki on card. It was the end at world. The amount of hours I've spent on that game playing, building a squad,
mm.
um, scouting, getting your wonder kids going, your regens as they're called now.
Yeah.
Yeah, countless hours. The people like myself, like yourself, that have played on football games. But that one just you go off in another world with it. You're just away in your own world. I've got a save going now that I start unemployed and you build your way through. Just to waste time. Everything's to waste time in entertainment. That kind of thing entertains football brains for years.
What is it still the 2001 version?
No. What's the one I've got? 2004 now because the reviews on the latest one are awful. So I just download the latest database and do it from there. But I think I'm like 50 years ahead.
What have you
You wouldn't
sorry,
recognize any of the players in it.
is this Football Manager or Championship Manager you're playing?
This is Football Manager. This one, yeah. This
Right,
is
okay.
yeah.
Because I think I told you, I maybe sent it to you a while ago. One of the lads that comes on our radio show, Sean O'Shea, he found a download site for the old Champman games, and he had it on his laptop. We was in the pub, like having a few pints, and he had it on his laptop, and we was all just sat around watching his AC Milan team from 98-99 season.
Brilliant,
It was, yeah, it's
brilliant.
fantastic. But I seem to remember I started playing that a lot during Euro '96, I think, or was it
Okay,
or was it the World Cup '98? But yeah, I was playing it a lot. There was a lad at school that used to bring printouts of teams, like, with all these players on, and it would be you would I think you all had a budget. It's like fantasy football, but he was doing it from Championship Manager. So he was playing the matches and you could use your budget and pay for these players. I think it was something like 20p in to get into the game. Signing players like Oleg Luzny, Shevchenko,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
all of these like Eastern European boys that
Cerebral
turned out,
West, yeah.
yeah, Tommy Svindal Larsen, obviously, he's a legend. And who's the other one?
Freddie
Irina
Adu,
Bakayoko? Freddie Adu,
yeah, back yeah,
Bakayoko.
Freddie Adu, yeah. But this is
Freddie
how we
Adu would
got
have
to
been a
know
bit
players,
early, I
wasn't it?
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This
this
is
is
this
what
is
this the other thing that it came from, this little chat, this little segment that we're talking about now, was last week when I said I don't know the names of many players anymore because I used to use football games as the encyclopedia to these clubs. That's how I learned the world flags, playing FIFA, and I'd never seen Qatar before, but there it is. And I know the
yeah.
flag now because they're the team that you pump in the first FIFA over and over again when you're trying to learn how to play it. Um, so like, not knowing these teams anymore and not knowing these players, it just feels like there's a gap in my life, and it's because I don't play any of like EAFC. Tried to play it, it's just not the same. Just don't like it. However, my favorite, we get to my favorite, and I've gone very specific with mine, mate. My favorite
Okay.
football game of all time is Pro Evolution Soccer 6. That's my favorite of all time. That was the one that you mentioned before. Without saying that this was the best one, you already mentioned the best part of it, having Adriano in it. Adriano on the cover, smashing goals in from the halfway line. Carlos, my front three as that Brazil team was Ronaldinho on the right, Adriano it through the middle, and then Carlos on the left wing. And the only change that I would make was Carlos and who was it that I put at left back? I just moved someone else at left back. I didn't really care about it because I was always going to score goals. But that, like Pro Evolution Soccer in general, me and my mate James, who was best man at my wedding, we used to skip school, skip college, skip work, nip into Manchester. There's a place near Affleck's Palace. I don't know if you remember it in Manchester. Underground,
Yes.
they used to sell dodgy versions of games. So we used to get like winning 11 from Japan on these snide discs for like a fiver. And it was, just written on it, winning 11. And then you put it in your PlayStation and just pray to God that it worked. And it would still have the data on the screen. Do you know what I mean? Like the artifacts from the game running and stuff like that, like the development code. But that was a game that the series that we just absolutely loved. But PES 6 spends it lives long in my memory. It lives long in the memory for various reasons as well. One, it's the best football game and hasn't been touched ever since. And I'm even talking about EAFC now. It will never get close to it. That what you could do in that game in PES 6, I always judge a good football game by how disconnected the football felt from the actual player. It felt like anything could happen when that ball was at the feet. It felt like little R2 feints actually did something in the game. It was just, you had to get your timing right and you could do it. When they started complicating it with, and then you hold L and you do this and push right on the stick, all right, forget it. I'm out. But if it's just a little drop of the shoulder on R2 just to get past him, do you know what I mean? It was
Do you
brilliant.
see it?
And
You see how it
go on.
makes us kids again? Talking
I
about it.
know,
Just
I
turns you
know,
into being a kid again, doesn't it?
I know,
Love it.
I know.
Love
But
it.
I
And
mean, PES 6,
there'll be
I was in my
people
20s.
well, yeah. But we're still big kids, aren't we? There'll be people listening to this, but I don't know what you're talking about. But people of our generation will be going, yeah. And it just takes you back to reminiscing. And we're still big kids now, still playing games. My wife
Yeah,
says, "You ever going to grow up?" Nope. Nope. Not going to
no.
happen.
Why? What's the point? But
Exactly.
the other thing as well was that I won the PES Media Cup in Dublin in 2006, I think it was, on PES
Oh,
6. Yeah.
where's your certificate for that? You should get that
Oh,
in background.
I've got it somewhere. I've got a picture of it as well somewhere.
Next to PhD, which is
Maybe maybe if I click this up, I'll find the magazine where he's
yeah.
got my picture with,
It, you put in front of pictures of kids in it. You just put it there like that. Yes.
yeah,
There we
here
go.
you go. Here's dad with his trophy. With Seabass. Do you remember Seabass who used to make the Pro
See?
Evolution Soccer games? Yeah.
No. See, who
It's
am I
he,
thinking of? See?
he was up there with like when you're talking about Hideo Kojima as like top Japanese developers, Seabass was the next one up there because he was the brains behind why Pro Evolution Soccer was great and why EA tried to
Okay.
copy it, ultimately did copy it and have to, pull them out of all the licenses because that was the only way that they could get ahead. Just
Mm.
brute force and money. So there's like a picture of me and Seabass together holding my trophy in Dublin, and it was from it was playing journalists from all over Europe, and
Really?
in the final it was all set up in this hotel. It was all set up on this big screen, and played against this French journalist, and he had like a little post-it note. Do you remember you could move the arrows and stuff and to like try and tell them where to run and stuff like that? And he had
Yeah,
a little
yeah, yeah.
post-it note with like loads of scribbles, like loads and loads of things that were on there, like showing him where to put his players. And as I said before, all I used to do was put Carlos up front, and I can't remember who it was that I used to put at left back. A body, put a player at left back in place of him. And then I was just sat there. I wasn't changing tactics, I wasn't moving sliders, nothing like that. And I was just pressing pot, start, ready, unready, ready, unready, ready, unready. And he kept making this ding, 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 like for the minutes that he's doing it. And Seabass was just stood at the side, just laughing, like, because obviously he was like watching, going like this is funny, like watching these two against each other. And I think I won. Was it 4-1? I think I won 4-1. I beat him,
Oh,
and
dude.
Seabass came
Yeah.
over, and he doesn't speak a lick of English, but he did manage to say that was the perfect game to me. So that's why PES 6
Fantastic.
will always have.
I love that.
I'm contractually obliged throughout my career to mention that win, as I have done over the years on every podcast I've ever been on and have ever started in the past 20 years. So there we go. It's finally made it to Fergie's Gum. But one last thing
Fantastic.
I did want to talk about, mate. Do you remember how we first met? Because
I certainly do.
it did revolve around video games. It
You
did
did. Your
revolve
brother
around
rang me and said, "Come and beat my other brother on FIFA." Was it FIFA? Would have been FIFA. Come and beat him.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was Marley
I
that said it, and he was basically, it was like how you'd introduce two gladiators. He didn't want you to come round so that we could have a laugh and have a chat. Oh, well, his brother. Yeah, we'll have a little chat on that. No, it was, I want you to hate each other and play against each other now, because he was
he
obviously
must
crap
have
at it.
known. He must have. Well, he definitely knows how competitive we are. So it was just
Yeah.
like duel. I don't remember how the games finished, but I do remember we never played against each other after that. We only did co-op. So it
Yeah.
must have been close.
I think they were close and tense, but that's how we forged this friendship.
It
In
is.
many ways, that's
It
how
is.
we
Yeah.
ended up doing this podcast together. Because
Well, there you go.
we would play. Did we ever play Pro Evo online together?
No, never worked online, did it? Rubbish.
Oh, yeah, that is true. So I think, we went straight to FIFA, didn't we? And we had some big
Dominated.
victories. Co-op, yeah. Oh man, good
Dominated.
times, man.
Good,
Good times.
good times.
But if
Friendship
there are
forged in battle.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. If there are people that are listening to this and they want to tell us what their favourite football game was, then you can do by either dropping a comment on our YouTube page, or you can leave a comment on our Substack, because I'll talk about this in a bit more detail on the Fergie's Gun podcast newsletter, which you can get from Fergie's Gun podcast.com.
Or even better, challenge us. Sorry. Challenge us. Even better, challenge us. Come on.
Are we going to
Love a
do
challenge.
that? That would mean us going out and buying a new game that we've never played before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd not
Still
thought that one
Still
through.
beat you.
That's it. That's it. I think that's where both the two of us got on well, because we never thought we'd ever get beat. So that's always a positive.
Croppers transfer corner. Woo-hoo. Loves it.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. Croppers transfer corner.
Sweat on you.
Sweat. Is it warm in the UK?
No, just I sweat watching telly, me, mate. A sweaty guy. Just a sweaty guy.
Oh God. Good God. Right. Okay.
Your face
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to business, which it looks like Manchester United are going to do in the summer. And I've got a feeling it's going to be big business in two positions. But this week seems to have just been narrowed down to left wingers. From everything that I've read, everything points in the direction of a brand new left winger coming in. There's a few flaky stories out there. The top one being that Manchester United consider making a bold move for PSG's Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. Can't say that name, obviously, as they want to incorporate new superstars to the team. He was also linked with Arsenal this week. I don't know why. He's not been at PSG, 12 months, 18 months?
I think so.
I was gutted when he went there, because I thought he was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, he's being linked with a move away, which surprises me. I don't see him coming to Old Trafford, but the links are there. 365 scores are putting it together that he could be on his way to Old Trafford. Thoughts?
The thing with that is, and they've basically blown their own rumor out of the water by saying that Manchester United want to add superstars to the squad. That's not a way that they want to do things anymore. They've done that. That's what they've done for the past 15 years or so. They've wanted that big superstar signing. It's not about that anymore. It's about getting the players and the right pieces for a squad that can challenge on multiple fronts. So as much as I like him, he's Georgian, isn't he? Like I think he's been pretty quiet for PSG this season. But now someone will just bring up the fact that he's got 20 GA or whatever it is in
Yeah,
6 games. But he's certainly a fantastic player. Would not say no to him going to Manchester United. But when you're talking about wasting, not wasting, when you're talking about spending a lot of money on a player, you want someone that's got the defensive capabilities as well. And I don't think he has that right now. So I don't think that's gonna happen. If he did, fantastic, but I just can't see it.
nope. Yeah, I agree. Not you're talking 100 million plus, aren't you, for him? They'll want the money back for him, so I don't see that one happening. Interesting, he's been linked with him either way. The next one is same source as well, 365 scores. New name on United's radar. Manchester United are considering a summer move for Marcus Tavernier, 40 million valuation at Bournemouth. Now, Tavernier, I'm just going to double check. Was he at United before as a kid?
No, I don't think so. I've got a
I
feeling he might have
don't
been
know
at
why I
Manchester
thought.
City though. But he's obviously a good player. But again, Bournemouth are going to be selling players. That's the type of club that they are. They're gonna sell players this season, as they did do last season, and survived it, which is surprising actually after getting rid of Dean Huijsen. Who was the other guy that went? Did he go to Inter? The other defender
Yeah,
that they had?
centre half. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
remember. Yeah.
you
Yep.
know, he left as well, and they've managed to sustain it. Senesi seemed to be really good, and they sold Semenyo as well. They will sell players this season, and I know that they've got some decent ones. The one that I'd be taking is either Alex Scott or Junior Krupi, or both.
Mm.
I think you could probably make a deal for both of them for around about 60, 70 million. But those are the players that I would go for out of there. Tavernier, decent player. Could he hack it at Manchester United? I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about him. What do you think?
Mm. I like him. Yeah, I do know he wasn't at United. He was at Newcastle as a youth. I don't know why I thought that. I like him, to be fair, Nathan. When I watch him, I think he's a standout attacking. He's another creative midfielder. Um, I 40 million is not a bad price for a Premier League player. I do believe if you brought him into the squad, it would thicken out the squad. But would he be better, any better than a Mason Mount? Would he be any
Mm.
better than some of the kids coming through? Would he would he get in the way of some of them kids coming through? I'm not sure. But as a footballer, I like him. Yeah, good Premier League player. Is he what Manchester United need? No, no, probably not.
I think
Mm,
first and foremost, what they need to do is they need to strengthen the first 11. That's the biggest thing that they need to do next season in the summer. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do it in one transfer window, but there's a lot of deadwood that's in there anyway that need to be sold on and replaced with much better players first and foremost. And then you add your superstar signings after that. But as you say, you should be reaching back into the depths of the youth team to try and fill out spots like for the third choice left wing back, for example. Do you know what I mean?
mhm,
Diego Leon, Harry Amas. Like someone should be in there that's coming through the youth team to have an opportunity. Because hopefully next season it's not going to be as bad as just playing one game every week. Should be challenging on all fronts. League Cup games, FA Cup games, back in Europe. Like there should be more games and more opportunities for these players to come through. But first and foremost, make that first team better than what it currently is. So that's
yeah,
priority one. Replacing
yeah. I've
Casemiro
got
is priority one.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I've got two more, but it basically runs through the wingers that we're looking at. So you're talking Njai, Barcola, Diamande, Mane, which I think we all know. There was another interesting name that was added to that list that I'd not seen us linked with, and that was a Scouser, Anthony Gordon, was added to that list, and I thought that was interesting because he probably ticks every single box that the recruitment team are looking at for me. You're talking 65, 70 million for him. I think that's the price that's being reported here. I think he would be ideal for Manchester United. Devastating pace, work rate, like you said, perfect position, knows the area, not that, but knows the league. I do think Anthony Gordon could possibly be perfect for that position.
He was linked to United before he left Everton, wasn't he? Like there
Yes,
was
he
talk of
was.
potentially going to Manchester United. Then I'm not sure what happened, whether Newcastle just blew them out of the water in terms of the fee and the wages, or if it was he just didn't fancy it at that point. If United just had different priorities as well, is another option. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Gordon's one of those types of players that you're talking about that they just add more steel to the game. And you need more players like that. I'd rather have 11 players like him that are just running and busting a gut week in, week out than a superstar that's just standing around like and just waiting for the ball to come to him in the perfect position. So, I mean, if Anthony Gordon was available, 100% you go for that. 100% you go for Anthony Gordon. Would he move? Would Newcastle allow him to move? Don't know. Don't know. It's going to be a tricky one, I think.
Not getting Champions League, if Newcastle can't get Champions League and we do, I think that could be
Yeah.
telling in that there, because no doubt he'll have a clause saying, if we're not in the Champions League, I can move on.
Yeah.
And I can't see many better options. Premier League ready to step in
Yeah.
there. But yeah, good
Did
one.
you have any more?
Yeah,
Or, okay.
the only one I had, which was interesting, which somebody I had to go and watch and just think, oh, right, well, I'm not sure. Don't watch a lot of the old Italian football. But Jesus Rodriguez, 55 million euros from Como. They're having a good season at the minute.
Mm.
If you go and watch him, reminds me of someone who plays a bit like a Harvey Barnes, that type of industrious winger, that right word. Technical, young, yeah, I didn't know much about him. Went and watched him. That was my opinion. Being linked with a 55 million move. I don't see them type of moves happening for United, but it was just on there. So I thought I'd mention it. Go and have a look. Tell us what you
Do you
think.
know one of those things with buying players off the continent now? I don't think United will go above a certain amount of money as it because they'll have been burned with Xerxes, with Ugarte, with probably not with Mazraoui. Like I'm not. We got him for a steal anyway. I think it was about 15 million, wasn't it? But they'll be looking at it now and being like, here's the limit that we're going to pay for someone like that. That's why even like what's he called? Edison from
Yeah,
Atalanta.
yeah.
Even him, if you can get him for 30 mil or 25, then they'll go for it. But if it's like, oh, they've been quoted 50, 60 million, no chance. They just can't take that
This
risk
is
anymore.
This is why I don't think we'll be looking at. I know the links with Diamande are big. I don't think United can take that risk, like you just said yourself. I don't think it's possible to do that.
Right. Okay. So he is the exception to the rule, and the reasons why here's why I believe that he is the exception to the rule. I would usually agree with you, but Christopher Vivell knows RB Leipzig well. He knows their setup well. He has a very good relationship with the club. He has a very good relationship with the players. He must know something. If he's chasing him personally in the same way that he did with Sesko, he knows something about Yan Diamande's temperament and his ability to be able to play in the Premier League. I don't think he would risk his reputation on a player that he wasn't 100% confident would make an impact on the club. And I know that not just him, but other scouts have been. It was reported by Romano. I knew about it a week ago. I think I told you off air about who
Mhm.
was there watching him. But there's interest 100% in Yan Diamande. And I think you would take a risk on him. I think he's a risk worth taking on Diamande. Just putting it out there, mate.
Completely disagree. Yeah, I completely disagree. But no one's going to listen to me. If you've got the option of Njai, Anthony Gordon, and then you've got this risk of he's never played in the league, we're not sure how good he is. Oh, it's a risky one, but it's exciting. And I think a
But
left winger is going to be coming in.
who's ahead of if you brought Yan Diamande in now, who's ahead of him in that squad?
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I believe there are other options there that are you have to be proven in the Premier League. We've seen what's happened with people that have come into this league, have been a big waste of money for massive amounts of money, and they've just shown that this league will it'll chew you up and spit you back
Yeah,
out, and you end up over yonder, don't you? And you're just not gonna.
fair.
It's a risk. it is a risk, isn't it? If you can say, right, we'll have him and Diamandi, yeah, come on over. Yeah, but
Yeah.
if he's your main man, your main transfer, I think it worries me. Worries me a little bit.
Oh, I don't think he'd be the main transfer. Like in that position, he would be. But I mean, like as long as you can spread out the rest of it with good players around him, I don't think if you can get it for 50 million, I think you're all right. I think you'd be. I
Yeah,
think
you're
you'd be
not the
fine.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's the rumor, isn't it? That's the rumor. 50 mil. They'll be able to knock it down to.
Eight. Hopefully. Well, I think you'd need Diamande plus another one, and I don't think
Oh,
we can have both of them. Yeah,
fair.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
that's it for the transfer con. Obviously the same ones of centre midfielders, Anderson, etc. that we've spoken about before, but they were the ones that were interested this week.
Well, the outs. The only things to report on that is Barcelona seem to think that Rashford's done. But they're refusing to pay £26 million for him, which is just outrageous, but not unexpected from Barcelona, who they'll always cry poverty and then go and spend money elsewhere on players and stadiums and all types of stuff. So yeah, I'm not buying that. I think United will dig in, and I think the report was that they, if they don't get that money from him, he'll just come back and someone else will buy him. So that's it. That's basically it. And then there was, according to the Mail Sport, Daily Mail, terrible newspaper, but they said that Jadon Sancho's time at Manchester United, obviously he's leaving at the end of this season, has cost the club 138 million in transfer fees and player wages. Now, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. That, just in case you're wondering, that is a lot of money. Is he the worst Manchester United signing of our lifetime?
Not only the worst Manchester United signing of our lifetime, he's probably the worst transfer ever in club
Oof.
football.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
That's big.
I don't see anybody any worse. You could think of someone who just signed for big money and then broke leg, got injured, and then was, they struggled after that. But no, I feel lack of effort, lack of determination, the amount of money that was paid for him, the fact that we chased him for 2 years, and then the wages that he's on, what he produced, what he's gone on to produce since we kicked him out. I think you can put him up there as probably the worst transfer ever.
Wow. That's big. That is big. And I
Mm.
can't disagree with it. I cannot disagree with it. The only other ones that I would say in terms of performance that Manchester United have signed that were dreadful, or attitude. Attitude, obviously, and Angel Di Maria. He was the
Yeah.
same. Never he wanted to go to Manchester United, ended up there, and huffed and puffed his way around the pitch ever since. Doesn't help that you get your house broken into when you're playing a game either. So
Mm.
you're never going to settle when stuff like that happens. But the other ones, Massimo Taibi, awful goalkeeper, absolutely dreadful, really, really bad person. Not bad person,
Wasn't
sorry,
on
bad
300
player.
grand a week though, was it?
Exactly, but this is what I mean. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
say
I
that
know.
he was
Uh,
on a level like that. And William Prunier was
right.
another terrible, terrible centre back. I think, did he play one game? One game, conceded 2, or bossed that game, and then never played for the club again.
Yeah, yeah. Get out.
Top stuff. Top stuff. But no,
Yeah.
cannot disagree with that. Jadon Sancho, pack your bags, lad. It's almost over. Right, it's that time of the show when we get the Gummers mailbag wide open, take a peek inside, see what's there. We did already talk about one of the Gummers mailbags, but you
One
didn't
of them.
actually mention
Yeah,
who it was.
I didn't. Sorry, Ryan. Yeah, thank you. He sent 2 questions in. That was the first one who did. I think was the best in the youth team. So yeah, Ajayi, save all your money, lads. Get him in the first team. There you go. That's my tip. His second question was after the back of last night's Champions League. Is it still called Champions League? They call it. We've not been in it for years, have we? So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, sure it is.
How do we think United would do in the Champions League? I'll throw it to you
With this
first.
team, with this squad now,
With this
we-
squad
we'd have-
now.
would have already gone out.
I agree. Glad we're on the same page, mate. Yeah.
Would it
No
gone
chance.
out? We're not built for playing more than one game a week at the moment,
And
as
we
we
struggle
saw
doing
against.
that.
Yeah. I know there's always the argument, the counter argument of if you're playing more games, then you keep your energy levels high and, you stay sharp when you're playing more games a week. But this squad, I don't know. I don't think then again, Spurs qualified for it. I don't know. I don't know. If we was in the Champions League, I would have expected this squad of players to have gone out by now.
Yes.
And it would have been a number of draws, not even defeats, just draws, not being able to get the game over the line. Yeah, I don't know. With the potential for like Mbumo, Sesko, and Cunha to be playing in the Champions League, I think offers you like a really good platform to play on. It's just that behind them, it's made a quicksand. So I just don't think you'd be able to get very far in the competition. What about you?
I think I don't think we'd have qualified for the next stage. I think we'd have been battered a few times, would have been turned over at home, and we'd have bottled it away from home because the mentality isn't there. I also don't think we've got enough pace to be devastating enough to beat these teams. There's not enough goals in the team. Yeah, and not scoring enough goals and leaking too many goals is what it's a recipe for disaster. I think I think possibly we are 2 or 3 transfer windows too soon in getting in the Champions League, and I think it
Yeah,
might show next season. Yeah, it might
fair,
show.
fair.
Unfortunately.
What's
Yeah.
the next one? Last question, is it?
Next one last one was from Carlitos, who loves it. Big Gummer. He's put if Spurs go down, would we go all out for Van der Ven? Do we even need a centre back?
Absolutely not. I think he proved last night that he's dreadful. Like I know that people have been like singing his praises, and I think before their collapse, there was a lot of talk about Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven joining United and improving Manchester United in terms of the centre backs that they've got. Would I take either of them over Harry Maguire? No, no, thanks. I think they're disruptive. I think they have like a couple of good games, a couple of good games. I think they flatter to deceive a lot of the time. I think the only reason why Manchester United fans would feel any sort of like, oh, Mickey van der Ven could do a job is because we had to watch him waltz through our team a few times in devastating defeats to Spurs over the last few years. But I think he was lucky to stay on the pitch last night, Van der Ven, against Atletico Madrid, and he was part of a team that just got drubbed 5-2. So absolutely not. I wouldn't take any of them. I wouldn't take any of this Spurs lot. I think they're bottlers, a lot of them, and I think they've managed to get all of these managers sacked. And I would not trust a single one of them.
I've got a completely different opinion. As always, I think Van der Ven's good. I like him. I like Van der Ven, and I think his head's gone. I think his head went about
I
what
don't want I
3
don't
months
want
ago.
players like that. I don't want players like that. I don't we've got enough players. Like when you talk about, the mentality of Manchester United and being able to beat Newcastle with 10 men, right? And we opened up the show talking about the mentality of those players and not being able to deal with 10 men or get the result because they're mentally fragile. Why would you add a Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven to that mix? They're exactly the type of players that when the chips are down, they don't want to know. They they're diving in and like they don't want to be there. And you can see when not even when they're diving into challenges, but you can see it when they were playing at 2-0 down and they were trying to play it safe and they're just like, just want this to be over. Ego Tudor, we don't rate him. We didn't rate Ange. We didn't rate Thomas Frank. They're cowards, mate. I don't want any of those players near our team. Get down in the Championship and get playing Bristol City. That's what I'm saying. None of those guys
I
deserve
wouldn't
to be in the Prem.
I wouldn't go near Romero, but Van der Ven, I would take a lot. I think he slots straight into our starting line. Big shout,
Get
I
out.
know,
No
but
chance.
yeah,
Big shout.
I'm
Get
having him.
out. No. I'm
I'm having
ending
him.
this podcast. I'm ending this podcast now.
Yeah,
Nah, Van der
I would
Ven,
have
I
Van der
think
Ven.
he's out of a bad bunch, he's probably the best. But I just no. We've got too
I
many
think
soft lads.
I think there's a believer situation happened there with Van der Ven when he's realised the team he's playing with are rubbish. He wanted out in January. They said no, and he's just gone. Tell you what, there you go. Have that perfect mind.
Well,
And
exactly.
it's showing his performances, but yeah.
Why would you take someone like that though? Why? Why take a
Because he's
risk?
a beast. He's a
He's
beast.
not.
Who else?
He's not.
He's a beast.
He's not. He's a donkey, is what he is. He's just fast. He's just fast, is what he is.
A
I
fast
wouldn't.
donkey.
Yeah, I would not. I think they call them horses. I would not put him. I would not put him ahead of Harry Maguire right now. And that
I
might be
put him.
that.
I'll tell you, I'll go ahead of these. I'll go to the second part of the question then. Do we need a centre back?
Do we need a centre back? Yeah, because Matthias de Ligt's legs have fallen off, I think.
Yeah, there's another mystery thing come out. I saw a few memes, so people just trying to find evidence of what's wrong with Matthias de Ligt. Also, Martinez has shown he can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't physically keep up. So, going back to your question, Carl, yes, I think we probably do need a centre half. Like we said, we've got the old regen of Maguire there in the old youth team.
Yeah,
so.
and Bastoni was the other one that we
Aiden
mentioned.
Heaven and Yoro, are they good enough to win you a league?
We will find out by what we do in the transfer market in the summer. That's what we'll find out. Yeah, exactly. And I think there has to be, and you're right to question whether or not they'd be good enough for it. But at the end of the day, they're in that team on merit. You know, they've done what's needed to be done to get into that squad, and there's huge expectations on them. Do they need more games against like different opposition rather than just Premier League? Yeah, they need to experience it all. Were they ready to play against someone like Grimsby? Probably not, because it was a different type of football than it is in the Premier League, and they were set up completely wrong as well. But yeah, we do need it. I think we do need another centre back. And I think if you're going to do something like that, I would go with someone like Bastoni is what I would go for. I'd go all out and try and make that deal. So there you go. Not having Van der Ven, mate. Not having him. Coward.
I can tell.
Coward. Get down to the Championship, lad. Get down to the Championship. Right. Okay. That's it. That's enough from us. I'm all boiled up over that centre-back pairing of Spurs. So we will. Who's the next game? Villa at home, right?
Villa at home, yeah, Sunday. I don't know if I'm going yet. I've not had the old say so we'll see. Hopefully, I can get down there.
What are you expecting
Tough game,
for that one
Nathan.
then?
I'm expecting a tough game. Morgan Rogers to run riot is what I'm expecting. Oh, that's another thing. Just before I throw in, that's what they were saying about Noah J. He's our Morgan Rogers coming through. That's
Okay.
what the report said. Anyway, yeah, I expect him to run right in that centre of the pitch.
I don't. I think he's off. I think he's off form. I know he's got previous against Manchester United, but I think he's off form. And I think United will get back to winning ways.
We should have battered them at their place, shouldn't we? Remember that game? We were all over them. We should have battered them. So yeah.
They need a response.
Big game, though.
They need a response. Exactly. They need a response at Old Trafford, and I think they'll get one. So can't argue with that. But yeah, so anyone that wants to follow us on social media, then you can just go to fergiesgunpodcast.com. All of our links are there. You'll find our YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where you can see our faces, because we don't actually put our faces out on the actual podcast. You can hear our voices, but not see our faces, apart from on the clips. And we've also got the newsletter there, where you can read about me talking about where Matthias Cunha's best position is. Clue, I have no idea. And whether or not Michael Carrick's honeymoon period is over in response to the salacious headlines. So that's it from me. That's it from Paul. And we will talk to you again after the Aston Villa game.